Hi YouTube people, welcome back to another monthly read-in wrap-up. I am so late with this video, so I'm gonna try to make this a quick wrap-up. I read 12 books for the month of March. The first book I read is called The Mixtape. It's a rockstar romance, a single mom romance, and a black romance, and it was a okay/good book. I gave it 3 stars. It's about Emery and Oliver, and they're both struggling in different ways. Emery's dealing with being a single mom and struggling with her bills and crazy family stuff, while Oliver is struggling with the death of his twin and the other half of his musical duo, and like trying to focus on music again. Those are his issues. Just a okay book because I felt like the romance was more of a subplot and all the other drama was the main plot of the book. So that's why I gave it 3 stars. But it was still a good story. The next book is actually 2 books. It was a duet. The first book is called Just Like Heaven, and the second book is called Sinning Like Hell, and I love this duet. It's a Romeo and Juliet retelling, but like on crack version. So it's so good. Let's see, it's about Sutton and Calder, and so Romeo and Juliet vibes. Their fathers hate each other. Her father's a senator, and his father is this crime lord, something like that, like heavy criminal, and they're enemies and they don't get along. But then Sutton and Calder, they just meet and it's an instant connection. I don't know how to explain it other than it's like Romeo and Juliet. They couldn't be together, but they were together, and then all this drama happened because they were together, and it ultimately separated them. In the second book, the cliffhanger in the first book is crazy. I was not expecting that kind of cliffhanger because it was kind of unreal. And so the second book, Sinning Like Hell, kept them separated for years. They weren't together, but they also weren't with other people, which I love. So they stayed loyal to one another. So it was no cheating, and it was even more crazier than the first book. I like the second book better, yeah. And you get a lot more details and drama with her parents. Her mother is crazy, evil mother. She was just an evil person. She didn't care when this boy tried to assault her daughter, and she was she was smiling when the same boy who tried to assault her daughter smacked her. So that was crazy. And then let's see, Calder ended up killing her father and the boy who tried to assault her because he got his revenge for what all those people put them through. So he killed her father, his uncle, the boy who tried to assault her, and then Calder's brother killed their father. So it was a lot going on, but it was so good. It was just a roller coaster of emotions, so much drama, so much love, and Calder and Sutton. The tension in the first book, amazing, and then their love story, love it. Really Romeo and Juliet vibes. Love, love, love it. I gave the first book 4 stars and the second book 4.5 stars. Next book I read is not The Mile High, it's Mile High. It's a hockey romance, and I think this is my favorite read for the month. It's about Xander's and Stevie. Like I said, it's a hockey romance. So he's the hockey star and she's a flight attendant, and she's flying with their team. He's a playboy, slash bad boy for the media, and Stevie is described as a curvy flight attendant who loves animals, etc., etc. And I really loved the banter between them. They had this back and forth banter going on, and it was so cute. Like, you could see the connection they had. Like, you could visualize it with the words. I don't know. I think this might be my favorite hockey romance. Like, when she was feeling insecure, he, like, lifted her back up and made her feel so beautiful, and I love that. I love their sweet moments, and they had this inside joke. I like when books have inside jokes. He was like, what was it called? Oh, he would always say to her, "You follow me," whenever they would be in, like, the same place, and it was so cute. I gave this book 5 stars. Yeah. And the next book I read is the second book of that series called The Right Move. It's about Stevie's best friend and Stevie's brother. And you see them both in the first book too as well, but this story is about them. Stevie's best friend, what's her name? Indy. Indy and Ryan. Ryan's her brother. Indy and Ryan's the basketball player, and Indy is a flight attendant. Indy ends up moving in with Ryan after her longtime boyfriend cheats on her, and she has nowhere to go. So she moves in with him, and then something happens, and they ended up, like, fake dating to impress his boss. And then, obviously, like, emotions started rising up, and they fell in love that way. But she was still, like, trying to get over her ex. She was still struggling in that department. Ex popped up trying to get back together, but she was with Ryan, and I loved Ryan so much. I think he's one of my top book boyfriends because he was so sweet and nice to her. Like, his love for her, it was quiet love. Like, he wasn't loud about it, but his actions, you could see that he really loved her through his actions. And yeah, I gave this book 5 stars as well, but I like the first book better than the second book, but they're both still really good. Okay, the next book I read is Transcendence. Yeah, this was a weird book for me because it was, how do I say it? It wasn't weird. It was different because it wasn't like a full dialogue between the two characters, because, let me explain it. It's about Ed and Elizabeth. Ed's a caveman and Elizabeth is this modern girl. I was assuming she was a modern girl in the first book, but then in the second, like, follow-up book, you realize she really is a modern girl. But yeah, there was no full dialogue between them, but it was so good. So he's a caveman who's been alone for a long time, and then all of a sudden Elizabeth's in his trap that he set up, and then he, like, takes one, looks at her, and thinks, oh, this is my mate, and he takes her back to his cave, and I don't even know, like, she speaks, but he can't understand her, but you get, like, his thoughts. That's what the book is, basically. It's his thoughts, it's his point of view, and, like, he keeps saying she's making these annoying noises that's giving him headaches, and I'm assuming that's her talking, but you really don't know. I think throughout the whole book he says, like, 3 or 4 words that they, like, know. It's like their names, and then love, and then it's something else. It's not a lot, but it's cute. It took her a while to warm up to him, obviously, because language barriers, but their love story was cute, and they ended up having, like, 2 kids. It was cute. It was weird, but it was cute. The second book, it's called Loves. I read that next. it was in her point of view, and it gives a better understanding of like the books overall, because it's her perspective, and you realize that she is a modern girl who was just like fell into the caveman era world. It's either 3 or 3.5 stars. It was different. I liked it. The next book I read is The Predator, and all I'm gonna say is this book was hot. I love Tristan. It was a mafia romance. I guess it was like enemies to benefits, enemies with benefits, enemies to lovers. They were like rival mafia families too. Okay, so it's about Tristan and Morana. Yeah. Morana snuck into a party, intending to kill Tristan, and obviously that doesn't happen because he's a crazy good killer, and he lets her go, and then he finds her again, like trying to figure out like what's up, and they realize they've been set up, like someone did something to them, and they had to figure out who it was. So they ended up working together, even though he wants to kill her. And I don't know, he wants to kill her, and she's still like weird about him. But then they like kind of get together, and then I don't know. It's love-hate relationship. It was hot though. Tristan was hot. He was, I don't know, the way he was described in the book was everything. Like, I love him. I bought him, even though he was trying to kill her. He still loved her, and you could see, like, he wanted to harm her, but he wasn't gonna let anybody else harm her, and it was cute. 4.5 stars. The next book I read is the follow-up of their story. It's called The Reaper. So it's like part 2 of their love story, and they're still dealing with the drama from their first book and with their families. And you find out a lot more about the mystery that's happening, and they're searching for answers. A whole lot of skeletons are revealed. Like, people die, not them though. We love them. They still alive. And Marana is happy. She finally has people who are like her family to her, because she was like lonely in the first book. She didn't have no friends, but now she has a found family. I like that for her. And Tristan, his story, all I'm gonna say is I want him to find his sisters so bad. I gave both those books 4.5 stars. The next book I read is called A Vow of Hate, and this book was unexpected, because at first I was like, I don't think I'm gonna like this book because of the way I thought the storyline was gonna go, but then it took a twist, and I was into it. Okay, it was an arranged marriage, and it's a bully romance. It's about Juliana and Killian, and I kind of have to spoil this book because it's a lot. I took notes on it. Let's see, it says Killian and Juliana are in arranged marriage, but Killian was supposed to marry her sister, Grace, and she was supposed to be the love of his life, but then she died, and Juliana thinks she killed her sister. So they're both dealing with grief, and Killian's mad that he had to marry Juliana and not the love of his life, so he takes his anger out on Juliana, and oh, I hated him this first book. Like, he was so mean to her, and I hated that he called her he called her like beastly, and her face was scarred after the accident. I didn't like that at all, that he called her that. And Juliana, she's still drowning in guilt because she truly believes that she killed her sister, and spoiler alert, she didn't. The plot twist I wasn't expecting, and I don't know if I should spoil it. Kind of want to, because I was like, why are you falling in love with your sister's like fiance, love his life? But the plot twist, you're like, it's not all bad. But I gave that book 4 stars. It was a good book. I just didn't like the way he treated her. Like, even though you're her, don't treat her like that. The next book was the second part to their story. It was a novella. It's called A Vow Forever, and it's basically like an extended epilogue of their story. They have a redo wedding where he says proper vows to her because the first vows he said were horrible. So he is more likable in this book, and they go through different things in this book. Like, they're still dealing with trust issues from the first book, but they're also dealing with him running for president, the media being mean to her, all that, and also pregnancy problems. So for this novella, I gave 3 stars. It was a good extended epilogue. I feel like it could have been in the first book though, but that's my opinion. Okay, and the last book I read is Right Man, Right Time. It's another hockey romance. It's also fake dating and age gap. This book was funny. I took a lot of highlights because Ollie was really funny. Like, she was making fun of his age, and I don't know, I just thought some of her jokes were so funny. And then the story she would tell to like his friends of like how they met was so ridiculous and funny. Like, she's kind of crazy. Okay, so it's Ollie and Silas. She's trying to like show off to her ex-boyfriend that she's over him. So she's like, I got a boyfriend. He's at the bar. And then she goes up and kisses Silas. And then that's how their like fake dating kind of happens. Because then he's all like, oh, you owe me a favor now. So she agrees to it. And their love story happens from there. And I love Silas so much. He was so sweet. And I hated what happened to him with his ex-girlfriend. Like, that was ridiculous. And then his ex had the nerve to want to get back together with him. Like, girl. I don't know. But their connection, it was cute. Even though it was like a 10-year age gap, they were so cute. And their banter was funny. I really enjoyed Ollie. Like, her banter, unreal. Like, at times you might find her a little annoying, but it's still in a funny way. Like, I don't know. It was the age jokes and the story she would tell, how they met. I did predict the plot twist. It was kind of predictable in that sense, but it was still overall a good book, even though they had like communication issues. And the smut. The smut was really good. So I'm torn between 3.5 or 4 stars. I feel like 3.75. Okay. I said that this was going to be a quick video, and this wasn't quick. I think we're at 20 minutes, but thank you so much for watching this video.